Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the new Big Ten Mafia Show, part of the College Football Mafia. I am your host, Sergeant Pickles. With me, as always, is the fantastic Becky Go Huskies and good friend of the show and our fellow conference mate, Moen. How we doing, everybody?
Better than Becky.
Better than me. Yeah.
Becky's had a rough day. That's not a dirt smudge on her face there. Becky, why don't you let everyone know what kind of fun you had this weekend?
I play softball at a really high level. And one caught me in the face. So yay.
Yeah, that's it sounds
Joys
like you got
of
a pretty nice dentist bill to go with it. So
oh no, it was gnarly. Let me tell you, it was gnarly.
yeah, there's definitely some intensity in the ranks of semi-pro beer league softball for all intents and purposes. But Becky's a trooper and joined us for the show, so we appreciate you fighting through it. And if you need a moment to not speak and regain some oh, okay, so we have liquid soothing of the affected area. Cheers to that. We appreciate everyone being here. Apologies for the confusion on the showtime, family matters, et cetera, et cetera. But we want to thank everyone from hopping here in. We got Nathan Campbell stopping by, channel member Timothy Green. Let's go get ready for another great show. Absolutely, Timothy. Thank you so much. And new channel member, Skaven. Yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I don't know if you got the soundboard rigged up for our show, Moen, but if you do, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. And feel free to gift those, or if you're a channel member already, Wild Ute is putting out some fantastic videos. He's already got the Kansas and Florida State to the SEC. We're doing more and more live chats coming up, I believe, coming to the season. Moen, do we got one scheduled coming up, one of our members-only chats?
It'll be next week. We'll do one next
week.
Wednesday. So every other week we do our members-only chats on Wednesday, or member-only streams on Wednesdays. It's called the Sit Down.
Absolutely. And getting into the season, it's a little calmer vibe. You know, we're able to kind of answer more chats going on and have a little more back and forth conversation. So if you're a channel member, be sure to hop in there. And if you're not, please think about subscribing and helping the show. There's a lot more content coming out, especially as the season's rolling around. Your Buckeye brother, Moen Gerard Jones. Good evening, my friend. How we doing? Lee, hello. And Becky. Becky, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you managed to make it in for us.
I'm glad she can make it too. Oh my God. Well, welcome, Becky.
This is a cheap one, but I'll give it to you because I'm thirsty. It'll be like Georgia Tech to the Big Ten. Cheers to that. That's your only freebie tonight.
I had to take it at the beginning.
Yep. And Coy, hello. First official games of any team in the Big begin with soccer. Has that already kicked off? Are they doing conference games yet, or just non-conference? I know the Husky women's team was playing.
Yeah, it's non-conference. There might be some like conference stuff sprinkled in, but for the most part, it's non-conference.
Okay, right on. And hot takes right off the bat. Georgia Tech upsets FSU week 0. I believe that's the Ireland game, is it not?
It is.
It is. And
Man.
I would say if you got I wouldn't do it as a straight up bet, but take Georgia Tech in the points.
Yeah.
What is the spread right now? Do we know?
10.5 was the last I saw. 1.5.
I'm gonna wait.
Spicy.
I'm gonna wait like a week. I'm gonna wait like a week just to see if that like changes. I feel like 10.5 is. I feel like that's a lot.
It is.
I
think it is.
And
we'll
10.5.
We'll do a pick 'em this season so everybody can get their picks in, and we'll see who the ultimate of the team members are and the ultimate of the fans.
There you go. I do vibes only picks. I do zero research whatsoever, and it seems to work out better than when I actually research the teams and topics. However that works out. Illini Ted hopping in. Big Ten Mafia, let's go. Absolutely, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. And I know you guys have been breaking down some of our other rankings, but of course it had to wait for our Monday show. But now we have the official College Football Mafia channel presenters, Big Ten predictions. And I got to say, I don't think there's too many controversial opinions on this one. but we'll go Becky first, and then Mo. What pops off the page to you going down the list? What shows up? I think everyone's kind of in order where you would expect.
Yeah, I think the first 10 are all like fairly accurate. The question of the conference is not the top. Like, we know who the best teams are. It's the bottom that is like any of those. Like, I think Northwestern's a little low here, but that was my thing. I may have even had them lower, but Indiana, Purdue, Illinois, UCLA, flip a coin. Any one of them could be probably the worst. So I'm fine with it. I think it's great. Like I said, the top is the top. I mean, the top pretty much goes right in line with what we saw out of the AP rankings and everything. So we're pretty much thinking like most of America, I would assume.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't recall for my exact rankings, but I think I had Michigan a couple spots lower. People can call that bitter Husky syndrome. That's fine. But I agree with you for the most part. I think that right side of the list is a crapshoot. I'm kind of tracking the Rutgers will be improved this season. I'm riding that train. Moen, what are you seeing? I know you're on the Rutgers train also.
I like Rutgers. I think Rutgers is a strong team. I think these top 8 are pretty solid. You can move them a little bit, but
you couldn't say 9, could you?
No, I'm sorry. But I think these top 8, you could reorganize them, and at the end of the year, I think all those teams will be in the top 8. I think that's the order of finish. Now, 9 through 18, I see that could be crazy. I see Illinois being a little better than 16. I see Minnesota being too high on my list. I know they've got this new quarterback, Max Bozemer, and he can throw the ball. He doesn't have anybody to throw to. You got a quarterback from no receivers. So
our friend Tony Lashin's not going to be happy. He thinks we should flip Minnesota and Iowa. Can't imagine why he would feel that way.
Look, Iowa is an 11-win team without an offense.
Yeah.
If they have an offense, they're national champions. You can't even disagree with that. Like, no, you can, because if they had an offense that could like just do something, they probably play for the national title last year, because they probably beat Michigan. They don't lose. Who's going to beat them? If I gave them USC's offense from a year ago, do they lose a game, Moen? You think they lose a game? No.
Nope.
No, they go undefeated and win the national title. Like, the defense is that good. The special teams are that good. Yeah. But they can't play offense. And we'll find out this year if it was like Tony's basically saying, like, they don't play offense. So we'll find out if it's the play calling or if it's a personnel issue. I think we're going to know a lot about Iowa by the end of the year. But no, I also think Rutgers could sneak into the playoff talk. If
a dark horse. Wow.
Yeah, they're my dark horse. Like, I'm big on the Rutgers thing. Like,
wow.
I had 8 Washington, 9 Rutgers, 10 Nebraska. Because I don't trust Nebraska, but Matt Rule's there and he usually has improvement in year 2. So you have to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. And then the other aspect is I don't trust Wisconsin still. I don't trust USC's defense. So yeah, Rutgers could slide in there and they could get in there. I think they could sneak in and be that like 5th team from the Big Ten that's in the chase.
I absolutely.
I want to be wrong. But all we've heard from Greg Flugar is how good that quarterback was at Minnesota, and then he didn't play well last year.
All right, so, listen. He said the same thing about Athen Clackamanus last year. All we heard in the preseason was the Greek rifle, the Greek rifle, the Greek rifle.
Who is now at
Rutgers.
So he can't be terrible if we're all hyping up Rutgers. He can't be that horrible.
No. But the question is, like, and Moen can speak on this too. Like, Moen, how many times did you see Rutgers actually throw the football last year?
Right. They don't throw the ball. They run the ball. They've got the best running back in the conference, probably. They run the ball and they play tough defense. That's Greg Schiano football. He just needs somebody who can be a game manager. If Clackamanus can just throw 150 yards a game and not throw an interception, that's enough for them.
Yeah. And I mean,
I've definitely had.
I don't even think Minnesota's going to throw the ball. They're going to be like, we're going to look at the it's going to be the Russell Wilson 2012 Seattle Seahawks. Run, throw. Run, throw. It's boring, but eventually you'll score.
Yeah, I've definitely had for Rutgers specifically, and as a Husky fan, but the Huskies start off at home with Northwestern, kind of a relatively easy landing spot kicking off the Big Ten campaign, but they go to Rutgers the second week of the conference season, week 5. I think that game will tell us a lot about both teams, really where they stand. Can Rutgers be solid at home on, it'll be a nationally televised game. Can Rutgers be solid at home? Can Washington travel and actually establish something early in the season like a competent football team? Because I do have them finishing inside the top 8 in the conference. I'm not bold enough to say they're pushing that, 4, 5, 6 region, but I think they end up over a Nebraska or Wisconsin in that top 8 of the conference.
The team I think we're sleeping on the most is Michigan State. I am serious when I say I trust Jonathan Smith to turn that program around and immediately turn it around. Like, they're going to be competitive this year. They may not win a lot of games, but they're going to be competitive. I think we're sleeping on – I really think we're sleeping on Michigan State. Like, I know they're at 12. I don't see them being like a playoff contender. They're going to upset somebody. Guaranteed they upset somebody. I mean, he didn't have the talent to beat Oregon. He ran the ball 30 straight plays and beat Oregon while at Oregon State. And yeah, he ran the ball 30 consecutive plays to beat a team that they were trailing. They weren't ahead, they were trailing. He's a very good game planner, play caller. Like, I really think we're sleeping a little bit on Michigan State. I'm not saying they're going to be like barn burners, but they're going to be good. They're better than we thought.
Yeah, Jonathan Smith is a very good coach, but you and I both know, much like at Oregon State, it might take him a few seasons to get his guys in there and get it established. He hasn't necessarily had success right away. He's not the Lincoln Riley, I come in and have a Heisman and win 10 games. It's a slow burn, but he does build that program from the top down with his guys in a really solid system. The key for me, why I don't think Michigan State, they're not going to be terrible. I think I had them somewhere kind of in the 5 and 7 region. They're missing a Damian Martinez, I think, who can hammer that ball and is like a top level college football running back. So it may take him some seasons, but Michigan State, I don't think is going to be fighting for last place this year.
Well, I will just say this. They lost a lot of guys to the portal.
Yeah.
Especially when, and those were high recruits on the defense, high-level players. I think that defense is going to be compromised this season, and I think some people are going to score points on.
Yeah. They did bring in some talented guys like Childs also, though. It wasn't like a total one-way street. So
no, they brought in a very talented tight end. They brought in Childs, and then he brought in a few other pieces from Oregon State, and some other dudes. And Childs is I think he was a 4-star quarterback coming out of high school. So, and he was going to start eventually. I think if they had stayed at Oregon State, I think he would have started even if DJU had stayed. So, I mean, it's his. And by the way, he's a dual threat. He is a true dual threat. So they're going to get him out running they're going to mount on the boundary and good luck.
Yep. Saying hello. I know some people, we said originally a 5:30 showtime, but we were able to correct course. So we appreciate you slowly hopping in here. Ryan, Willie, hello, my friend. Clint Moses, I'm sure we could touch on this real fast. Could the 5th or 6th best Big Ten team beat the best Big 12 team? So we're talking Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State type.
Yeah, it's Iowa.
I think it's close.
Iowa.
Yeah, we're going to see it if you see, the Cy-Hawk game, but I don't know if Iowa State's quite up there. But could Iowa, USC, Wisconsin beat a Utah, Kansas State, or Oklahoma State? What's your initial thought?
Yeah. Yeah. Iowa specifically. I mean,
Utah's no slouch.
No, but Iowa's defense is ridiculous. You're going to have to beat Iowa 7-3. And I mean, I don't know how you get 7. Like we make fun of Iowa's offense all the time, but they don't give up any points. The only teams that score on them are Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. The only ones. And no offense to Utah fans, but your quarterback is on his leg is bionic at this point. Might as well start calling him like a cartoon character. He's Inspector Gadget. He's got so many parts and pieces that are barely his in that leg. Like if he gets hit, they're literally one play away from being a mediocre team because that's how good Cam Rising is.
True.
So can they out physical Iowa? No. So how are you going to beat them?
Very few can. Yeah, Iowa specifically, I think, is the toughest of the bunch. I think just in terms of just playing against them is tough. Because if you can score on them, it's over. But doing that is rocking a hard place type task. It's really, really, really difficult. Getting to some other thoughts coming in. Don't understand how we got OSU over the team out west. Moen's cringing so hard I can feel his screen.
Moen, say it.
There is no team out west.
Thank you.
If they are, they would be the number 6 ranked USC Trojans. Even I'm willing to admit that as a Husky. Come on. Know your history, people. Let's go.
Oh, somebody asked what Michigan State's schedule was. Their non-conference is Florida Atlantic, Prairie View, and Boston College. They're at Boston College.
They should win that, I think.
They should go 3-0 in the non-conference. And then they have sandwiched in week 2. I don't know why they're playing it in week 2, but Maryland's in week 2.
Yeah, I remember looking through the grid matrix of all the schedules, and
then comes the gauntlet. I'm going to read you after week 4, after their 4th game, right? These are the next 4 games after they play Boston College. Home with Ohio State.
Loss.
At Oregon.
Loss.
Home with Iowa.
Loss.
At Michigan.
Loss.
So they can be 4-0 and then turn around and go 4-4 that quick. Like
that is how you end up going 5-7. I feel pretty good about my prediction.
Yeah, because then after that it's home with Indiana, at Illinois, home with Purdue, home with Rutgers.
A lot of 50-50 kind of types in there.
They might get 7 wins. I think their ceiling is 7.
Yeah.
Maybe
8. I want to go back to this Ohio State over Oregon thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
I voted
for the reason Oregon. People are putting Ohio State over Oregon is how much returning starters they have. You've got basically the entire defense coming back. And then you add Caleb Downs to it, who is arguably one of the best players, if not the best player, in college football at the moment. Yeah. And then on the offense, you replace Kyle McCord with Will Howard. You have Emeka Egbuka coming back. And you get the number 1 running back out of the SEC, Judkins. So I understand Oregon has Dylan Gabriel, but I think with the returning pieces and what they've been able to purchase through NIL, Ohio State is clearly the better team than Oregon. Now, we'll find out for sure. They'll play each other, so we're going to find out for sure. But looking at the outside looking in, it's analytical. There's more returning starters. There's more offensive production returning, more defensive production returning. I think Ohio State's got a better team than Oregon does.
Yeah. The ace in the hole for me,
Chip
Kelly. Chip Kelly's the ace in the hole. He knows Oregon. Different staff. I get that. But there's a familiarity there. They're not going to be phased, I think, as much by going to Oregon. He can prep them better than some other teams necessarily. And that, Ohio State's no stranger to playing in big environments and, far away games. That's, they've had huge bowl games the past few years. So
let's be a little honest. It's only 50,000 people. It's not some Autzon's.
It's loud.
It's loud. It's not some intimidating environment. It's 50,000 people. They're going to play in larger stadiums all year. Yeah. The key for Ohio State is, can they get pressure on Dylan Gabriel? Because that Oregon offensive line is probably the best in the conference. No doubt. It's really, really good. So if they can get pressure on Gabriel, they're going to be fine. But Will Howard is, I think, the biggest difference between the two teams, because that kid's not afraid. He's gonna throw it, and he's not afraid to get out there and try to run over a linebacker or somebody. Like, he's gonna get physical. So I really think that if they install the offense that I think they're going to install, which is that old Oregon kind of, we're going to go tempo, we're going to run some like gimmicky looking crap, but we're going to, oh yeah, look, we're handing it off 25, 30 times and we're only going to throw it 20. I think that's what they want to do. And the biggest difference is the secondary. Oregon's secondary is going to be, they're really good. Like
Jabbar Muhammad is
Muhammad, coming over from Washington.
That dude's
like,
amazing.
He's good.
I'm so
like,
mad he went to Oregon.
They were already pretty good. So the key on that is, are the Oregon receivers or are the Oregon DBs better than Ohio State's receiving core? I don't think they are. We'll know more in like what is that, October? We're gonna find out. Yeah. So we're gonna find out. But I'm with Mo, and I think Ohio State's the better team. I think they lose at Oregon, but I think they beat Oregon when it matters. I think they meet them again in Indianapolis, and I think they beat them there. So
that was a strangely popular sentiment, I think, amongst the college football mafia presenters, is that the Buckeyes might lose a close one in Eugene and then beat them in the rematch. They're not going to do the Washington double win in a season, but it's not for everyone.
They still could. I mean,
could. Our friend Ryan Willie, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Greg is going to hype any Gopher player. And you should hype him, but Greg was a little reluctant to see the writing on the wall when the season wasn't going well.
I mean,
he still held out hope.
Outside of Greg, can any, like, if you didn't watch Greg's show, could you actually name a Minnesota Golden Gopher?
No.
Unfortunately,
no.
Max Brosmer, and they've got one receiver. And like I said, Max Brosmer can be the greatest quarterback in the world in practice. If they don't have receivers, and he's got 300-pound linemen breathing down his neck, you don't know what that kid's going to do.
What's the coaching tree that he came from? Tressel, right?
Tressel. It's run, pass. Run, pass.
Throw. Yeah.
We'll stop running the ball when they stop us.
Ay. I'm gonna have to get used to that in Big Ten land. This run, pass thing. It's very unfamiliar to me.
Can we point out as well that Purdue might be the worst team in the conference, but they might have the best safety in the conference?
Yeah, they do.
Ridiculous.
Outside of Caleb Downs.
Yeah. I saw him on a lot of.
He might be the best. He might be the best safety in the conference. Like, yeah, but between those two, like, they're going to be terrible. But you're not going to want to throw near this kid.
No, our friend Lee pointing out Rutgers has the easiest schedule in the Big Ten.
They do.
Debatable, but
no, they do.
They're all pretty much really brutal. There's at least one or two landmines on every schedule. So because I think Rutgers has Ohio State and Penn State, I think.
No, they don't play either one of them this year.
Really? Okay,
no.
I might be confusing them with someone else.
Yeah, they got away from them. That was the thing that was holding Rutgers back in Maryland too. It's easy to say Rutgers and Maryland suck when they have to play Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan every single year.
Their toughest teams are going to be Virginia Tech. They're playing at Virginia Tech, by the way.
Yeah.
Washington, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and USC.
The USC one's going to be rough because it's at 11:30 at night for them.
There we go. That's what.
Yeah, the USC game, like Moen said, it's 11:30 at night on a Friday, right?
Yeah, I believe it is a Friday game.
Brutal. But yeah,
my son is very upset about Rutgers, also apparently.
But I mean, like, opening up at home against Howard and Akron, and then they go to Virginia Tech, and then they play at home against Washington on a Friday. Like, that's, as much as we're saying, like, oh, that could catch Washington off guard, they're playing Washington a week after they're playing Virginia Tech. So they have to come all the way back. It's not too far, but they have to go all the way back to New Jersey from Blacksburg and then start getting ready. So they're going to lose the day themselves. So
that's tough. You don't want to be caught looking past Virginia Tech to a conference team, and that would be a big thing on Rutgers to beat the team that just went to the national championship, diminished or not, come into your house and you get a win over them. That's a big feather in your cap for a team like Rutgers who's building towards something.
Yeah.
Tony Lashin, Iowa played 3 ranked teams last year and got shut out 3 times. Rutgers has a terrible quarterback. Nebraska has a true freshman. All true things, but the consistency of Nebraska's defense is good enough that we give them the benefit of the doubt. I have heard mixed reports about Cade McNamara in off-season practices and scrimmages, whatever, as much as weight as you want to put into those. You're not going to see a Lincoln Riley offense step onto the field and just light it up all of a sudden at Iowa. It's just about taking a baby step toward being competent, and that defense is good enough to carry you, in my opinion.
Yeah, by the way, the teams that shut them out, Penn State, Michigan, and Tennessee. So it's not like they were,
Scrubs.
Yeah, they're playing pretty damn good teams.
Yeah, Becky, would you like to address the hate toward UCLA? It seems like some of our traditional Big Ten friends are confused about why we think so poorly of the Bruins.
I don't think poorly of the Bruins. The issue with the Bruins, they're breaking in a new offense. They lost a ton. And we could say this. Their front seven was the best front seven in football a year ago. They lost all of it. They had the best DN pass rushing dude in the entire country. He's gone.
15th overall in the draft. He was very good.
He was very good.
First defensive player off the board.
Yeah, they were stacked a year ago. They beat, if you go back, they lost to Utah. Utah down. I don't even think they scored an offensive touchdown. So, yeah, UCLA's offense a year ago was bad. The expectation is it might stay that way. Ethan Garbers is the starting quarterback. Now, he's not going to be intimidated by these big environments. I think he played at Kent State. But, again, they're not the offense that they're bringing in, Eric Bieniemy, yeah, he was great with Kansas City, but the Colorado was terrible. So
yeah, mixed bag for sure.
Bag. I don't think that they're going to be that bad. I just don't know. You look at their schedule, guys. They play LSU. They have LSU. They're at LSU. Their schedule is brutal. Find me 5 wins, and I'll be like, hey, this is great. I can't find 5 wins. I can't do it.
I've seen people picking them over Washington in that game, which I thought was kind of interesting.
And you know what? I'll be honest, Washington tends to bite the bullet against them for some stupid reason.
Yeah, lay a goose egg.
They just, I don't know what it is. Sometimes they just play a crap against UCLA. But no, all honesty, find 5 wins in that schedule. It is. I mean, they're at Washington. So,
yeah. I
mean, they've got USC, Washington, LSU. I believe they have Ohio State. They have Oregon. Find it. You find the wins. I'll come back and I'll eat crow if they play well, but I don't know if they're going to win many games, guys.
Yeah, Huskies tend to not root against the Bruins like we do USC and Oregon. We're friendly, hey, good job, man. You're doing good.
We don't even root against USC. We're just okay, you're USC. We want to beat you, but that's about it. But UCLA, it's you haven't done anything since 1998, guys.
Yeah. USC wants to be treated like USC, even if they're having a 500 level season, which is the only time I really have a problem with it. Moen, on this next one, I actually want your take on it because I'm curious where you had Oregon ranked. I'm assuming you had them near the top and underneath Ohio State, which is just fine. But did we all really have to take the Ducks? Even the Huskies up here took the Ducks near the top. But what's your reasoning behind that?
Yeah, I mean the talent level. The talent level at Oregon. Like I said, Ohio State's talent level is a notch above Oregon. But Oregon's right there. And they went out and got probably the best quarterback in the transfer portal. Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, best available for sure.
Right. And they're returning a lot of starters too. So I think that they're right there. But I think Ohio State's just a notch above them in talent. But you have to respect the talent, and you have to respect what Dan Lanning's done there.
The question for you, Mon, do you think Ohio State has enough to slow down Oregon in the trenches?
I think so, because I think you've got Jack Sawyer, you've got Tyleek Williams, you've got JTT there. You've got some monsters on the line at Ohio State, and they're seniors. They're all seniors, so they've got experience. Now, Dylan Gabriel, if he gets outside the pocket, that's going to be trouble. That's going to be trouble.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get outside the pocket around those, big defensive ends, yeah, that's going to be a problem.
I personally think Oregon's problem is going to be their coaching. Dan Lanning tends to do stupid things at stupid times. Like the whole, Oregon fans will be like, we should have beaten Washington at Washington if we hadn't gone for it on 4th down here and here. And it's like, yeah, but that's Dan Lanning. So I don't know if I trust Dan Lanning yet in a tight ball game. How about you, Moen?
I would trust him. I think he's done a good job building this team. This used to be Oregon was just offense. You just say, hey, Oregon will just go out there and score 59 points, and their opponent will score 39, but you scored 50. Now they've got a really good defensive-minded coach there, man. Put together a really good defense, especially that secondary, like we talked about.
Yeah, they feel like an SEC type defense, don't they? Like they look the part now. I don't know if they closed. For sure. See, my big thing on Oregon is I know Ohio State can play with them. We've seen them do it. Oregon wasn't, last time we saw Oregon play an SEC team was Georgia.
Right.
And they weren't even within 46 points. Have they done enough in 2 years to close a 46-point gap where, Georgia's still getting better and still has dudes? I don't know. Like Ohio State had Stroud, and that was probably, the difference there between, getting their asses kicked and losing by a field goal. But I don't know if my thing on Oregon is they've got a lot of depth. They've got a lot of like Moen said, they've got great offensive weapons. They've got a great line. They've done some decent depth stuff on their D line. I don't, for whatever reason, I can't trust Lanning to make a right decision when he needs to make a right decision, because he just hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I'm going to expand on this one from Buckshot Kid. I'm going to say, out of the teams in that right-hand column, who could win 10 games, let's say including the bowl, who could get to 10 wins, and which team in the left-hand column, at risk of putting Washington out there, could miss a bowl game altogether? I'm not going to say Washington. I'm going to say Nebraska, because them failing is funnier. And for my team that could surprise and get 10 wins, I would pick Rutgers. I could see Maryland also having a really solid season, but maybe not quite getting to 10 wins. What say you?
I've got Rutgers as well on that side. Maryland, I would also put up there. They've got a tougher schedule, though. But I think they're still a talented team. I like what Loxley's done there. On the left side, I'd say Wisconsin.
Really? Okay.
Wisconsin is probably up as high as it is because of how high I had them ranked.
They do have to play Alabama, which is tough, and I know you like them in that game. Maybe I like them straight up, but with the points,
But I like Luke Fickell as a coach. I think he's going to make the right calls, and I like Wisconsin.
I like Rutgers to get to 10 wins. I think they could potentially do it.
That's crazy. That we're talking like a not quite making the playoff, but like a fringe team at 10 wins. That's insane.
Well, I mean, they had 10 wins. They had 10 wins back in the day, I think, when they had Ray Rice as the running back. Like, they were good back in the old Big East.
When Washington scheduled them for a home and home, they were still good.
Yeah.
By the time the game was played, they were not.
They were not. Yeah, but Washington had gone from being like 0-12 to legit playoff contender. I think like Rutgers, I think could win 10 games. I think the top 14 all make a bowl game. I think they all do. I think they all get 6 wins. Minnesota's the team that I'm not kind of on, but they could get that 6th win. Everything, like, it's favorable. I think they could win. I think they're going to beat North Carolina. That's probably why I'm like, they're going to get 6 wins, Because right now, I think 6-7 wins is their max, but they have to beat North Carolina to do that. And then Northwestern's going to have to get lucky at least once, and I think they will. But 15 down, no. But I'm with Moen. I think Wisconsin's. I don't trust Wisconsin. I also don't trust Nebraska. I think Nebraska's going to, and if Nebraska's better, what is that, 6 wins? It's an improvement because they could throw the football last year, but they're going to beat Colorado this year. So
everyone's in love with mini Patrick Mahomes there at Nebraska.
I mean, he looked the part when he showed up at camp. Those are the teams. I think Rutgers is going to sneak. They're going to be sneaky good. They might sneak into the playoff talk, and that's scary.
Tony seems to disagree with us. We're all drinking the Piscataway Kool-Aid. I don't drink Piscataway Kool-Aid because I don't want cancer, but I do like Rutgers, Tony.
I do like Rutgers. I don't know why I like Rutgers. You know what it is? Because like Mon said, they have the best running back in the conference. Mm-hmm. They're gonna play solid defense. And if you watched them last year, you go, if they could only throw the football, they beat Michigan. Because they had Michigan for a while there at Michigan, Michigan was on the ropes for a hot minute before Michigan realized they can't throw the football, and they just loaded the box. So
yeah. The caveat to this, I could see Rutgers losing at Virginia Tech, losing to Washington, and their season getting away from them and going 6-6.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm saying they're a stone dead lock for 10 wins, but they have that upside to me.
No.
Moxie Talks, going to the Rutgers-Washington game, going to be a good one. I think it will. I think it'll be down to the wire and pretty darn competitive. Both teams kind of figuring out what they got for this year, an early season game. So should be a lot of fun there on a Friday night.
I think last time Washington played at Rutgers, it's the only time they played at Rutgers.
It was 28.
It was 28-14. So it was a tight game.
Oh, yeah.
So
am I thinking of the game at Washington where it was more one-sided?
Yeah, the game at Washington was ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, Dante Pettis, I think he ran for a punt touchdown and almost had a second.
Yeah, that's the one that's the only game I've ever left in the third quarter where I'm let's go get drunk in the parking lot and wait for the final. Because it's so bad. It was just so bad.
Yep. Moen, you can speak to this a little bit better than we can, but Hoosiers head coach is amazing. He'll do what Tom Allen didn't. I hate to say that, but I don't share your faith this season at least. But, they seem to be recruiting well. They seem to be kind of doing all the right things to shake it up in that bottom end of the Big Ten. What do you think, Moen? Do you have a lot of faith? I forget the gentleman's name. Kurt Signetti.
Kurt Signetti. Right. He's the new head coach there. He comes over from Liberty.
Liberty's good.
No, James Madison.
I'm sorry.
James Madison.
Right. James Madison.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, also still good.
Still good team. Still good. But listen, I don't know if you've ever been to Bloomington. The facilities there are not good. It's going to be hard for him to recruit people in there until they can get the facilities upgraded. You can have NIL, but still these kids want to come and play, and they want to, have a nice neon lit clubhouse that has Xbox and PlayStation and all this stuff, and that's just not at Bloomington. They're a basketball school, and they have been for pretty much the existence of the school. So until they get the facilities upgraded, he's going to have a hard time recruiting. But I think they will be much more improved than they were under Tom Allen. Tom Allen is just, the problem is they gave him that huge contract based off of the COVID year, and then he just cratered. So
who was this quarterback that COVID year?
Pettis.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I guess DeBoer would have been the OC for that team, right?
Yeah. DeBoer was the OC. I have faith in him to turn them around. I like you. It's not going to happen this year or anything like that. But you look at what he did at JMU. They play in the Sun Belt, I want to say.
That sounds right.
They had no business being. The only reason why they didn't play for the conference title is because they couldn't. They just weren't allowed. They had no business being that good. And he did that. He flipped them in a year. They're beating, when he took over at JMU, they weren't the best team anymore. Like they had some success, obviously winning some national titles and things like that at the FCS level. But they knew that they were going to be shifting over to FCS, so you had to, or FBS, so you had to, like, he had to shuffle the roster. He had to take over some things. He had to make some things right. They took a little bit of their lumps, and then he just kind of, but they had no business being that good that quickly. It's not going to be this year, but it will be here soon. If he stays there 5 years, in 5 years, they're going to be like, look out, they're going to be really good. Question is, will he be there in 5 years? Because if they start to flip it around, he's not going to be there in 5 years.
Who comes to get him?
Yeah, a kid from he coached in the South. Who's going to come get him? Like, anybody could turn around and like go, hey, let's go get this guy. So that's kind of where I see them. But I think Indiana's not. I have them. I think they're going to be the worst team in the conference, but they're going to be competitive at times.
Yeah, between Illinois, Indiana, Purdue, I think we all had some combination of those three in the bottom. Northwestern, I think I had a little bit above just because they, was it 7-5? They put together some solid seasons.
Yeah, Braun took them to a bowl game.
Yeah, that's amazing considering they do recruit fairly low compared to the Big Ten. They have that kind of Stanford-ish academic strict standards.
Well, Stanford, unlike Northwestern, can draw 4 and 5 star players. Like at least,
Well, it's because Stanford is Harvard, but they actually care about football more or less.
Yeah, but they'll never have an Andrew Luck at a Northwestern or Christian McCaffrey because Stanford's Stanford, and they're still going to recruit that 5-star kid, 4-star kid more so.
Yeah,
because those kids aren't stupid. They want to go somewhere where they're going to get, next thing.
Yeah. Gerard Jones pointing out Ohio State played Utah in the Rose Bowl when Marv was a true freshman. Cam Rising was in his 4th year. Marv is in the NFL. Cam is still at Utah. That's been the whole thing with Rising. The injury bug has bitten him. I think has he been able to gray shirt twice or just once? And then the COVID year. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Because he's in his 7th college year, I believe.
Technically, he can come back next year because they changed the rule. He can come back for an 8th year.
No, just don't do it, man.
I'm just like, how many master's degrees do you need, kid? Like, are you gonna have a law degree, or are you gonna be? We're gonna call you Dr. Rising when this is all done.
He's gonna be a medical doctor by the time he retires and gets out of college. Yeah, he won't even be able to play in the NFL. He'll just retire immediately.
There is also a kid at Oregon who plays, I think, tight end. He's in his 8th year for the same reason.
I'm not going to lie. I can't wait for all the COVID. I know why it happened, but I can't wait for all the COVID skip years to be done. Yeah. And for just to be back to kind of a normal 4 to 5 year cycle. Yeah.
The kid at Oregon keeps tearing his ACLs, and he's just gets to training camp in August, tears his ACL. So, but he's on his last, they were like, this is it. You're done. You don't get another year. So he's not going to get I think he's in his 8th or 9th year total. It's crazy to say that.
The only exception for me for age restrictions are the Mormon mission guys who come back and play for BYU. They're 29 years old and already have 2 kids. It's great. It's so much fun.
They're not that old.
Pretty close. Shonsky asking, where is Washington? I don't know if that's a sarcasm hit at us. They were receiving votes. I think that would put them 32 overall. Yeah. Losing some players. My problem isn't necessarily Washington not being ranked. It's that they put Michigan where they did and then didn't rank Washington. Because to me, they're kind of tied together. If you put Michigan high, Washington should be in your bottom end 20 to 25 range. If Michigan is 10 to 15, then you can justify to me putting Washington out. Michigan recruits better. They're more talented. I get that. That's why they deserve to be in the top 25. But you're basically we're only going to knock them down 3 to 4 pegs. But Washington, you're gone. And I don't think that computes in my mind. Is that just my Husky homerism, Becky?
That's your Husky homerism. We lost Washington. We lost 21 out of 22 starters. 13 guys.
Michigan lost quite a bit also. I think something like 18, 19 starters.
Yeah, but
that's not nothing.
It's not nothing, but we're only returning 1 starter. We're only returning 7% of our snaps from last year. That's it. No, and the entire O-line is new. Pretty much the entire offense is brand new. The defense is where all the returning players are, and our kicker is really, really good. I'm not big on it. They're 32. They're fine. Is what it is. I think it's going to motivate them. They should have probably been 25, I thought, but they're going to be motivated because now they want to prove everybody wrong. We have 11 guys now on scholarship on the O-line, which is like, because if you'd have checked in May, we only had like 4. So
yeah, if they get that win over I think even that win at Northwestern to go 4-0, having beat Wazoo Northwestern and looking okay, they'll be ranked. If they beat Rutgers, they'll definitely be ranked, top 20 probably. So it's in their own hands at the end of the day.
Like I said, at the end of the day, they're going to have to prove it. They're not bringing back enough for me to be like, oh yeah, you should be like top 10. No.
I think 20 to 25 range was reasonable. That might be my Husky homerism. Everyone waxes poetic about Michigan, but it's like, man, Michigan lost dudes too. Like, this is not nothing.
Yeah, I can't believe I've got to defend Michigan here, but
do it,
Michigan has a lot of seasoned high-level recruits on their team. So the guys that are getting replaced are guys that have been sitting behind them for the last 3 years in that system.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Washington has 65 new players.
Yeah, that's fair.
Half the roster is brand new. That's why I'm like, I'm okay with it. It is what it is. Like, it's starting over from scratch. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, let's just go. Let's just play football because
Gerard Jones defending Michigan. That's how much the purple glasses have gotten to me today. So I appreciate you all setting me right. Got to stay on the straight and narrow with my takes, everybody.
I mean, it's like I said, we're going to be fine. They actually have a ridiculous recruiting class that's like, it's like top 10 now. So they're going to be, like I said, Jed Fish knows what he's doing. He built something that can play and compete this year. That's all you can ask for.
Absolutely. And our friend FCS guy, assuming Utah and Notre Dame in big. Cam healthy, both play Ohio, Iowa. Where do they rank? What?
Basically, like if Notre Dame and Utah are in the Big Ten, Cam healthy, and they both play Ohio State and Iowa on the road, where would we put them?
Notre Dame would be in that 4 to 5 spot, and to me, Utah's kind of in that 6-ish range, along with USC. That's where I'd have them.
I'd have Utah between 6 and 8.
Yeah, Utah can play. Utah can play SC fairly well, but when Utah faces a bunch of other Utahs in like Iowa and Michigan and stuff who try to bully ball the way that Utah does, that's not going to go super well, even with a great coach like Whittingham.
No. And I mean,
Notre Dame is just Notre Dame. They do weird Notre Dame things. I don't know.
I mean, Notre Dame is good. Like, I'm telling you, like, Notre Dame's going to be in the playoff this year. Leonard.
Don't say that, please.
No.
Well,
Riley Leonard at quarterback is ridiculous. I was like, good God, how? But Utah tries to play like the SEC or Big Ten. Like, okay, do you have the depth to do it?
Yeah.
Not a quarterback.
Yeah, Illini said Australian punters and the Big Ten teams love, especially start close to age 30. That's kind of a different scenario. That's oddly specific. I know that Washington is recruiting one of the top punters in the country that committed to 2026. So maybe we're turning into a Big Ten team faster than we expected.
We'll get an Australian punter. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, the Seahawks got one, and he's pretty darn good. I like them Australian punters.
He went to Texas.
He did go to Texas. That's true.
Texas.
Lee, man, what is the world coming to? An Ohio State people defending Michigan. When you may hate your rival, but when you respect them, that's how you know it's a real rivalry. Because
if I'm building an NFL team, I'm building it with not only Ohio State players but Michigan players.
Yeah, it's like us saying that Oregon's not good. It doesn't make sense. Of course they're good. We respect them even though we greatly dislike them.
Yeah, we're just gonna we're just gonna trash them because we can, but we're not stupid.
Because it's fun.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. Real quick, this is my wild card. We kind of invoked the Jed Fish. I saw this and it about blew my mind. If for those of you in chat that don't know, this is Florida's schedule in terms of who's ranked. On top of this, they play UCF, who is no pushover. This is so bad. Oh my gosh. And everyone's saying, oh, haha, Washington might lose Fish to Florida. He's not going to want to take over what's left of this team. There's going to be nothing left. Moen, have you seen that I know preseason rankings, whatever, but have you seen that brutal of a slate ever?
No. And I think the fun game is that we should pick what game, after which game does Billy Napier get fired. Because he's going to get fired.
Yeah.
They're not holding him through the season.
He might not make it to the regular SEC schedule because I think he plays Miami and UCF to start.
Yeah.
UCF's not bad. They're a good team. It's brutal.
I have seen a schedule like this. You have two pickles. 2008 Washington on their schedule were ranked Oregon, ranked BYU,
I forgot
ranked
about
Oklahoma,
that.
ranked Notre Dame, ranked USC.
How'd they do?
Bad.
Let me just say, it worked out in the end because within 10 years we were playing Alabama to get into the national title game, but we didn't win a single game that year.
Wait, was that that was the 0-12? I was like, was that the 4-8 season or the?
I mean, in our defense, though, Jake Locker getting hurt did not really help.
Yeah, people can make fun. You went 0-12 winless, whatever. But if you're going to, at least it was to a schedule that's like absolute murderers, and that was pre-conference alignment murder schedule.
Yeah, that thing was stupid bad. Like it was at Notre Dame.
Yeah, Florida did this to
Oklahoma,
themselves. Yeah, Florida completely did this to themselves because I know, we're the Florida Gators, but like they've known Texas and Oklahoma are coming and you're going to pick up some more tough games. They still schedule Miami and Florida State and UCF. Like this is 100% your fault.
The big thing is though, their big games, only games outside the state of Florida will be Tennessee and Texas. They're not traveling very far at least. So I was telling people, I was like, if they went undefeated, they'd win a national title. You couldn't even argue that they would be the favorite. Look at this thing.
Oh, yeah. No, that's...
that's not happening, though.
It's not happening, but the crazier things have happened in college football, Moen.
I don't know. That's pretty crazy. That's up there. That's like App State, Michigan level crazy, but maybe even worse.
App State, Michigan 7 times in a row.
Becky, I know this isn't new to you at all, but Fish is a Gator alum. He'll take the job.
He wants to go to the NFL.
You're not going to believe us, but neither Becky or I believe this is the case. Is it possible? Sure. Yeah, he could, of course, take the job. They throw $1 billion at him, but neither her or I believe that to be the case. Have at it, Becky.
No, they're going to have to pay his. They're going to have to pay his get out of jail card, which is something like 50-60 million.
Yeah, Napier's buyout is monstrous.
Napier's buyout's big. Like for Florida to get him, fine. And I'm one of those people. I'm like, I don't fault. It's his alma mater. I would never fault someone for going, I want to go to my dream job. If that's his dream job, go right on ahead, Jed. Like, cool. But just know he wants to go to the NFL one day. And I think even as Husky fans, we know his goal is to eventually be an NFL head coach. So he's going to do whatever he can to get a better spot to be an NFL head coach. I think that's his ultimate dream. Yeah. Now, also with that said, I think there's enough people in place. There's some things that could roll the dice. There's still a former offensive coordinator who's still offensive coordinating in Seattle.
Indeed. That's a popular name. There's
still another guy. He's kind of old, but he also coached in Seattle. He won a couple of national titles in Los Angeles.
Here's a hot one.
So there's a lot at stake here.
Becky, this one came up in the offseason that had things transpired with different timing. Do you think this guy would be roaming the sidelines in Seattle instead of East Lansing?
No.
Really? Okay. No. Interesting.
Everything that happened with that, the more you learn about how that went down and everything, DeBoer would have had to be 0-8 in order for that to even be a thing. And it would have been 0-8 and getting beat by 50 every week. No, that went down really, really quick. And I think Florida, Oregon or Michigan State, I think they did it really, really well. because they had him hired essentially before the end of Thanksgiving dinner. He just coached, So it's a lot to it, but no, I don't think he'd be there. Like, had the season had it wound up like it did, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not taking that job." Maybe they definitely would have asked to interview him, but I don't know. I don't know, and I'll say it out loud because a lot of people hate Gannon. A lot of people in Seattle do not like Gannon, and I'm not talking about fans.
Yeah, our friend Braska Rascal, have fun with Troy Gannon.
Essentially, let me tell you why DeBoer was a little butthurt about his contract. Right, he wanted more money, but he also didn't really, according to the word inside the athletic facilities, he did not care for Gannon. Like they did not get along well. So I'm hesitant to say what happened. I'm hesitant to say what happened. Had Pat Chun already been hired, absolutely would have probably happened. I think we might still have DeBoer.
Yeah,
but we'll never know.
Yeah, and I think we'll finish off kind of our discussion on all these rankings and such with this is the CFP according to the preseason AP poll. You would have number 1 Georgia, number 2 Ohio State, Florida State 3, Utah at 4, Oregon 5, Texas 6, Bama at 7. I'll talk about that later. Ole Miss at 8, Notre Dame at 9, Penn State at 10, Michigan 11, Boise 12. I mean, it feels like it's going to be a lot of those same faces will be there at the end. But we've known every single year there's one preseason top 10 that doesn't make the rankings. Moen, who's the odd man out on that page to you, other than maybe swapping Boise with a different G5?
Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I just don't think Marcus Freeman has won anything of significance.
Sounds very Dan Lanning-ish.
Yes. They lost their big lineman this past week.
Yeah.
Past 10 days. That's going to hurt them. And I know the quarterback's supposed to be good, but, Sam Hartman was supposed to be good too. And, didn't end up winning them anything of significance. So,
I mean, he does look like the handsome Chad meme, so he's got that going for him.
Yeah, Riley Leonard might be great, but we'll wait and see. On Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame is always overrated, and they always underdeliver.
It's funny you should say that, Mo, and I thought you might bring that up because I 100% believed and was on board with you there too, but someone put forth some very compelling information today that Notre Dame is in fact one of the most correctly rated teams year after year after year. I actually found this fascinating. I was 100% with you. Notre Dame's overrated. They never win and get to the big one. But 2023 started ranked 13, finished 14. 22, 5, ranked 18th. Yeah, they dropped off. 2021 started 9, ranked 8, 10 to 5, 9 to 12, 12 to 5, unranked, finished 11th. That is ridiculously consistent in the realm of rankings. So do you stand by their?
I stand by it because, listen, Notre Dame is always unjustly ranked because they're Notre Dame.
Okay.
They started number 5, finished number 18.
Yeah.
That must have been really tough for them to come down to where they could only rank them 18. They're getting ranking points just based on the fact for Notre Dame.
Yeah, in terms of them, every single season, start of the season, no matter what does everyone say? Oh, Notre Dame, CFP contender. They're right in there, top 4. They're going to bump a conference champion, in the 14 playoff days. So in that sense, I think that's where we get a lot of the Notre Dame overranked. And I know you're a never Notre Dame guy. I was pretty neutral on the Irish my whole time as a former Pac-12 fan. So I'm still adjusting to the Notre Dame hate. I'll pick up the hang of it. But I think in the 12-team playoff, I think there's a pretty strong chance they make it. I mean, who would you have in there, I guess, otherwise, Moen, if they're your odd man out?
Let's see here. I'd probably put
like a Mizzou, I guess, or
yeah, I'd probably put Missouri in there. I like Missouri
Penn
a lot.
State's in there. I will say in my mock playoff, based on my rankings, I had Iowa squeaking in. That was assuming they have a competent offense.
Assuming they have any offense.
Anything is better. Becky, who's the odd man out to you other than if you want to swap Boise? I think Boise is a good shout, honestly, though.
I think it's Ole Miss.
Ah,
I
okay.
think it's Ole Miss. I'm on that Missouri train. I think they're going to be really good this year. I also think, and I'm not one to do this, but I think A&M is going to be better than people expect as well.
No, never the Yale guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Never.
But
you have to have learned by now. They're the Notre Dame of the South, always overranked.
They are the Notre Dame of the South, but this year feels a little different because you're just not talking about them. Usually in years past, we're like, oh, they got this. I think it's going to be them, and then the other team I thought about would be Tennessee. Those are the three, along with Ole Miss, that I think are going to be battling for that. Like, hey, we're good enough to be in the playoff.
There's some interesting non-conference games for a lot of those SEC teams.
The only other thing that I've thought about was I think Texas gets the one out of the SEC.
Not an unpopular take. I've seen it going around, but a lot of the Georgia faithful take that offensively.
And I will say this: Alabama might not make it at all. I can see that.
Purple glasses back on. I don't think Alabama.
No, it's not that I don't think Alabama won't win enough games.
I will say that Alabama doesn't win 10 games. That's my call right now.
It's their schedule. Their schedule is not. Their schedule's brutal. Even in the SEC, that thing's tough. But that's it. I also could see Alabama moving up too. Like I could see them being the 5. I could see Oregon dropping. If they lose both games to Ohio State, Oregon's going to be the 11. So I think they get in at 10-2 no matter what.
Shoot. Shonsky, here's another thing. Notre Dame's special and they're ranked 8th. Notre Dame will not join a conference as long as the media favors them. I mean, a discussion for another day, Shonsky. We're going purely whether or not they're going to be in the CFP, but we appreciate you throwing that in the chat. I mean, we're on the never Notre Dame train here until they prove otherwise.
Look at this though. This is what we were talking about that could happen. You know, how many Big 12 teams, how many ACC teams are in this?
By my count, was it 4 and 3? I think.
Yeah, that's it. And then you could technically the ACC will like hammer home Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was going to say if you include Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Which none of us will, but the ACC is going to be like, oh yeah, no, Notre Dame made it too. Like they'll be like, yeah, Florida State and Notre Dame made it.
I think what's going to be controversial no matter what is unless like, man, the ACC might be the one, but I think there's a strong likelihood that even if they have good seasons, the ACC and Big 12 will only get one team in. And I think that's going to be a tough pill to swallow because I won't totally disagree with them if like both Clemson and Florida State have good seasons or even Miami, but they get excluded. You're going to hear a lot of the same stuff you did with Florida State this past year.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scary thing about both those conferences is that there's so much parity in them. Everybody could cannibalize each other. And if that happens, you're right. You're only going to get one player.
I think an Oregon fan called them the new Pac-12. The Big 12 is the new Pac-12.
Yeah,
like
you're going to have a lot of
17
really fun games.
Fight for first.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a scenario where a two-loss runner-up in the Big 12 gets left out for like a 3-loss SEC or Big 10 team, and it's not going to be fun. I don't necessarily agree with it because this is all arbitrary at a certain point, but I think you'll see that argument made that this team is more deserving because they play in X conference.
I gotta let Shonsky know that Utah was never a thorn in Washington's side.
No, never. I don't think they beat us a single time.
They beat us like twice, and then we were actually the thorn in their side.
Well, actually, no. Didn't we beat them every single time in the Pac-12? We lost to them before they were in the conference, correct?
No, we never lost them until they joined the conference. But we played them every stupid year. But the big thing was we beat them in the Pac-12 title game without scoring a single offensive touchdown.
Yes.
So we were their thorn, their side.
Nathan Campbell, I love your enthusiasm here. This is in basketball. This would be a total, no-brainer. But imagine saying it in a couple of years ago, Kansas in for Alabama in a 12-team playoff. It's not outlandish either. I don't absolutely hate it. if Kansas has an amazing, great season and is playing for that Big 12 title game, that is under the category of crazier things have happened. What do you think, Mo? And
I like
I'll put it
Kansas.
to you that way.
I like Kansas. I've got them as a sneaky Big 12 pick.
Do you think that the Big 12 could legitimately get 2 teams into the playoff and, be solid?
They could, but those 2 teams are going to have to run the table, and they're going to have to play each other in the title game.
Do you think 2 losses is
you're going to have like an 11-1 versus a 12, a 12-0 to get 2 teams up.
Yeah, just remember, Arizona and Kansas State play each other. It's a non-conference game.
Yeah, that's
like,
so bizarre.
That's how crazy that's a non-conference game. By the way,
do we see a situation where like the TCU Baylor thing from a few years ago where they're like 1 loss or no loss, but they still get left out because they end up beating each other?
Not in a 12 team. Not in a 12 team.
Yeah, obviously the champion will get in, but it's just one of those wonky things where they would exclude the other for some reason.
Not in a 12 team.
Okay. There's faith. We want our Big 12 friends to do well, and I think for all the conference consolidation, like more is better in terms of more conferences represented, more teams represented, and more good football. That's all what we're here for, outside of fan bases for our own teams. Tony Lashin, Notre Dame has 4 G5 schools on the schedule this year. That all depends on which G5s, because like, for example, Oregon has Boise State, and that will be considered a good win.
I'm looking at their schedule, so I'll go through their schedule. Week 1 at Texas A&M. Week 2 home with Northern Illinois. That's 1 G5.
Win.
And they're at Purdue.
Win.
That's going to be tough. I'm telling you right now, Purdue's going to play Notre Dame tough. It's a rival.
That's on your spoiler maker special.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When they're home with Miami of Ohio.
That's a win.
Win.
And they have Louisville at home.
Tough. That's tough. Louisville's not bad.
I give the edge to Louisville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stanford at home.
That's a win.
That's a win.
And, we say that, and then Stanford last time they played at Notre Dame beat them, and they only won like 2 games.
This Stanford team is so bad.
Yeah.
They're so bad.
Then they're at Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, that's another sneaky good team.
I put that a 50-50 in Atlanta. That's tough.
Then they're at home they're on the road with Navy. It'll probably be a neutral site. It doesn't say it, but it'll probably be neutral. But they're at Navy. Then they're at home. Big one at home with Florida State.
Loss.
Then they're at home with Virginia.
Win.
Then they're on the road to Army. That'll probably be a neutral site. I didn't know this, but Army's rebuilding one of their sets of bleachers. And then they finished the year with their biggest rival in the Trojans. So
that to me is another 50-50. Is it in South Bend or
no? It's in the Coliseum.
Yeah, USC should do well. I think USC should take that.
Last game of the year, USC has UCLA the week before, so they're not even leaving LA.
Yeah,
and that's a road game. They're going to play at the Rose Bowl. So
yeah, and that's why I don't think they make it into the playoffs. Right now they've got them as number 9. I don't think I see 3 to 4 losses there. I don't think that Notre Dame's brand can carry 3 to 4 losses into the playoffs.
I don't know if they're going to beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M week 1. I don't know if they can do that. Like that's tough. Like we make fun of Texas A&M all the time, but man, they rise up for those big games sometimes. Like, and that 100,000 12th man is going to be loud.
Yeah, be a full up game. There's a lot of expectations for A&M as there is every year. But we have had our kind of rankings special looking forward to the season. I'm sure we're going to be getting into far more training camp position battles and updates where we overanalyze every single detail coming out from every team in the Big Ten. But what is your one further road, Becky, as we head off into the sunset?
As we get ready to go on the road, I want everybody to remember 18 out of the past 20 years, somebody who was ranked outside the top 10 has made the playoff. 18 of the last 20 years, somebody has essentially made the playoff or the BCS. So, and if they're not ranked, and this is another thing, it has only happened twice as well in the last 20 years. If they weren't ranked in the top 7, 18 of the last 20 years, they did not win a national title. So your national champion most likely is ranked right now in the top 7. The outliers, Auburn.
2010 Auburn, yeah.
2010 Auburn.
Famously.
And then I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but they were ranked like they weren't even ranked. They were unranked and they snuck in there. But yeah, they're the national champions in the top 7. Try to figure out who it is. But with the 12-team playoff, we might be able to throw that out the door. But if we may come back to this, bookmark this, you may come back and go, oh, God, Becky was right. National champion was ranked in the top 7.
Yeah. Real quick before Moen, you get to yours, I think a team ranked 5 through 12 makes the national championship. That's my bold claim right now. Moen, what say you? What's your one for the road?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that team is Ole Miss.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to play in the national title game against Ohio State.
Okay.
I will say this: we've all had Purdue ranked at the bottom of the league rankings here. That doesn't mean you should sleep on Purdue. They are spoiler makers. They will play teams tough. It is not a give me win. You got to go in there and actually be ready to play them and play them tough. So don't sleep on Purdue.
I am thankful the Huskies do not play Purdue this year. Please tell me they don't, Becky. Am I mistaken? I don't believe we play Purdue.
No, we do not. But we get the other problem children of the Big Ten on the road, Iowa.
Is it at night? We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
If it's a night game,
if it's a night ranked, I'm going to be like, well, we're probably not walking out of the ranked.
Well, according to Jed Fish, that's a big noon, which would be pretty sweet. But all right. Well, we appreciate everyone being here, stopping by for our second ever Big Ten Mafia Show. And much like Jim Harbaugh on week 1, we will be there to watch all the games with you.
Tony asked a question. It's a good question. I don't know if you guys saw that earlier. I did. I laughed at it.
Oh, not this one, but his earlier one?
No, the Northwestern question. Someone paid to name the stadium.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Please tell me it wasn't Pitbull Stadium like FIU.
No. And the funny part is, I'm gonna read the whole stadium name is hilarious because it's something or other at Ryan Field.
I gotta say, it looks pretty good. I actually think I have it in here to throw up on the screen.
Look at this. Hummus Hero reminds us Purdue has more wins as an unranked team versus top 5 teams than any other team.
Really? Is that all time or just recent?
That's all time.
Wow.
Yeah, the official name of the stadium is Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium.
Northwestern Medicine Field at Martin Stadium. I gotta say, I don't know if they're going to maintain this as a practice field, but it's a heck of a view right there on the water. I know the new Ryan Field, whatever it's going to be called, is the renderings look really pretty and it's an awesome looking stadium. But man, that's pretty scenic. And other than the lake effect snow, which they're trying to mitigate by not playing there in November, it'll be a pretty cool venue in its own way.
Yeah, the soccer team has to use it too.
Yeah, that's happened before.
Yeah, so that's like soccer team is already using it. So they're going to tear all that stuff back down when the new stadium's done. But man, It would be a nice little spot to like have a scrimmage or two.
Yep. Our friend Timothy Green, thank you for thank you for the show. Have a very nice day. Absolutely. And to you, my friend, Draw Jones. It'll be freezing come late November. That's why they're playing them at Wrigley. That's exactly
why Ohio State's like, we're not playing there. We're going to play at Wrigley.
Yeah. But we thank you so much for being here for our second ever Big Ten Mafia Show. To our chat, We will be here, same bat time, same bat channel next week, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Thank you so much to Becky and Moen for joining us. I'm Sergeant Pickles, and we will see you next week. Peace out, everybody.